This video has been brought to you by Game.
Just pick the game already.
Okay. Talk about this ghost we know and love, the BoogieMan, right? So basically, what happened? The BoogieMan launches, and we basically are all disappointed, right? I didn't know. First off, I don't have firsthand knowledge of what's going on over there. I didn't know he was going to be a reskin of a ghost that already existed in the game. That is unfortunate because we had really high expectations of the BoogieMan, right? So I can only speculate to what actually happened, but I do know that this could have been fleshed out a lot better, right? So I had a stream that I was going to showcase the BoogieMan and kind of like, you know, we were going to figure out the abilities and all that good stuff. But yeah, after I seen what happened, that couldn't have been a thing. That we just couldn't do that. We already know what that ghost class is about. And, you know, why at that point, right? Let's see. Honestly, it's a bit of a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was tough, but you know, we're here now. So let's talk about it, I guess. Basically, he's a reskin of a ghost, using the IP of the BoogieMan, which is crazy because the BoogieMan, aside from the movie Ghost, is probably the biggest ghost or most recognizable ghost that's, you know, in the Ghostbusters IP from the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon. So, you know, having that happen was like a really big blow, just to kind of see him getting reskinned, and then you know, just kind of thrown in there, right? There's so much they could have done with this ghost because he's not a traditional ghost. As we look before, we can look at other ghosts that they put in, like the Overlord class. They did an amazing job with that class. You know, removing the Overlord from the other classes of ghosts. Even though, like, everybody still plays Slimer, those that play the Overlord class have a really, you know, they have fun with him. You know, he's a fun ghost to play. And then seeing this, as you know, as a reskin, we're like, you know, you could have done so much with this ghost class. You could have, you know, even with the assets that they have, even if they didn't want to create new assets, they could have done so much more with that, as far as, like, you know, repurposing abilities that ghosts have in the game, right? They could have done that. If they didn't want to create the doors for the BoogieMan to go through, there's so many doors in the maps that they could have used as, like, you know, placeholders, or you know, just imagine him just vanishing from the map. Of course, this ability would be on a crazy high cooldown, right? Or it would be his ultimate ability, right? Which already has crazy high cooldowns in the game already, right? So, like, imagine him vanishing from the map as, like, Rift does when you know, basically eliminate it, right? It has those sprites. You could have really just used those sprites for him vanishing, or did some cheap wavy movement for him and just remove him from the map, and he can come out of any door that's on the map. Granted, it would make more sense if it was by a civilian, right? If the door was by a civilian, the doors only lights up if there's civilians next to him, or something like that. The closest civilian to the door, and as he exits the door, that area gets, heightened fear, right, around him. That's easy. That's lore accurate, and it's easy. Or they could have did something like Chomp. You guys know Chomp the shark, right? Chomp has an ability to where he can lock down a room in like this viscous material, and you can't see or anything. Just remove the slow mechanic and increase the visibility a little bit, and now, lore accurate, the boogeyman has an ability to add fear to that room, and he can manipulate, because the boogeyman is corporeal, right? He's not like a traditional ghost. He can touch humans and objects like a human, like a regular person does. So he's in that way, and he can't be trapped in by conventional means. We can bypass that, right? We can bypass that one thing and just remove that and just have him, be able to be caught by regular traps. If you wanted to add like a passive mechanic, sure, why not? You have a passive mechanic to where he becomes more corporeal as the round goes on, right? And then, or as you try to catch him, he becomes more corporeal, and then you can put him in a trap and just give him one life. He doesn't need three lives. He doesn't even need rifts. You could have changed the game up so well. You know what I mean? You just happy we got something. Look, a reskin is not something. I mean, it's something, right? I don't want to, because he does look good, right? He does look good, but at the same time, you got to also remember we had a DLC roadmap of all kind of stuff we were supposed to get. We were supposed to get drops. We were supposed to get, new gadgets, new gadget skins. What do they call gear shells? We were supposed to get those. And one thing that I really think that nobody's really talking about as far as this game goes is new cosmetics. When the new cosmetics dropped, that kind of changed the game, because people were just in editor making the character that they wanted. Now that there's no new cosmetics to mess around with, we're just kind of stuck, I believe that. Well, my thing is this. Anything would have been better than just having him as, a class, an alternate skin for a class that existed. Anything would have been better. Give him a brand new ability if you're going to do that. I think after the Overlord class, they kind of just phoned it in. Garaka was a disappointment. Although you really can't do much with him. I kind of figured he was going to be an Overlord variant. The three. But even then, they gave him 3 projectiles, even though they added it later. Which they might be adding something later. I don't know for sure. They kind of kicked me out of the Cool Kids Club, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, we see you over there not making, Ghostbusters content. So, no, I didn't hit them up. That's what happened. I haven't been hitting them up. I haven't been doing my due diligence. Okay? And that's what happened. I mean, okay, in the case of RGB Slimer, right? Real Ghostbusters Slimer, it's kind of already granted that he's in that class. He's in the Ectoplast class. It doesn't make sense to add him, add those to a different class. Would I like unique abilities to be different? Yes. I really would have. But you know, do I feel like, am I asking for too much? You know, you made this really big deal about a DLC, and you know, we get what we got. Am I just asking for too much? I don't think so. I don't believe I am. You know, back to the BoogieMan though. You know, I think the layoffs could have had something to do with it, because you remember back in December they had those layoffs, you know, at Ilphonic. But there's no way to say for real if those layoffs were tied to Ghost Corp. So they, you know, they could have just, you know, laid off admin or something like that. We don't really know. But I will tell you, a lot of their you know, their building and as far as the models go and stuff, that stuff was outsourced anyway. Those were contractors. You know what I mean? So they're not there for the whole time anyway. That also could have attributed to that. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's really no way to know that affected the you know, this whole the BoogieMan not being another ghost class. They could have just been saying, you know, we're not gonna deal with that anyway. You know what I mean? But that is what that is at that point. We just will never know. I don't know, man. Let me know what you think. I don't think it would have affected it. You know what I mean? And like I said, the initial release was kind of like they just threw up a video and was like, he's here, and didn't give us all the other stuff that was promised in the roadmap. They had, like, I mean, shoot, like a year to work on this. You know, and let's not forget, really, honestly, let's not forget that they are supporting, currently, they're supporting, Ilphonic themselves are supporting 3 other games besides this one. You know, they're supporting Predator Hunting Grounds, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and also what was the other one? Arcadegeddon, the Osmosis Jones looking game. That, I mean, I played that game for a little bit, right? And then I was like, it's not my cup of tea. You know, and the player count was low, so it's kind of hard to get, you know, it's kind of hard to get a team together. And, you know, it's starting to look that way now with Ghostbusters. You got to understand, even though I will admit this, right? It's on every console, including Switch, and it's on Epic Games. The original launcher for Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed was on Epic Games, right? Issue is, you know, there's a such thing called trends. Things trend, right? So if you look at the Steam numbers from when the Steam when it launched on Steam, which gives a pretty good accurate representation, right? You have, you know, which wasn't a really big start, because, you know, if you already have, I would say this, if you already have the game on Epic, which the majority of people do, you're not going to convert to Steam unless you want it on Steam as well, because you already paid for the game. So, but even so, you know, a couple hundred players to like 12 players now. I mean, that is a trend, right? You know, I don't think Ilphonic is spread too thin. I just think they're cutting costs. You know, that has remained to be seen they're not gonna tell their business at all. I wouldn't, honestly. It just kind of makes you wonder if if you think Ghostbusters is worth supporting now. Things like that make me wonder. Is the game worth supporting anymore for the developers? And if they had a shot, would they increase it? Like, would they increase the support? I would if when money's involved, I always say no. Unless they come up with like a way to fund this stuff, I'm gonna say no at that point, But I mean, he's here, right? And even though lightning or electricity has nothing to do with what he got going on, he here. He's here, and I don't even think I've seen too many BoogieMan players. A lot of people don't even know how to unlock him. They just see the video and they're like, how do I do this? Which is fine. It's up to the community that's left to tell people. Point blank, period. Hey man, you just need to level up the ghost. I myself, I don't even have the Scoleri brothers, because I just haven't put that much time into the game. I haven't put much time into any game, to be fair. But that's what that is. But I don't know. I mean, what do you really think? Like, I'm not too disappointed because, again, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money to, try to put in another ghost class in the game and, it flop. That would be my main thing. Like, do it flop, right? And then you lose all that investment money. So yeah, I'm not too upset. I see it, but I'm just disappointed that, we got a roadmap and let's go.